Hello, and welcome back to Real Talk with Rayne and Gabe.
I'm Gabe. Hello.
Today, we are going to discuss LGBTQ plus representation in media. Yeah, that. My brain is fried. I've been working all day. Don't come for me. So, I know Gabe came up with a list of some media pieces that we can look at and talk about. So, Gabe, what do you think we should start with?
Let's start with stuff done by Busy Pop with Hell of a Boss and Hasbit Hotel. Mostly just because I feel like that is a good representation of LGBTQ media on current modern viewpoint and also in the indie space as well. So by indie, I'm referring to something that's not Disney, that's not Nickelodeon, that's not Cartoon Network, that's not worried about a reputation to uphold, unlike Netflix and Amazon Prime, where they can be a little bit more like open
Yeah.
to quote unquote. I don't even know what word to use to describe it because it's not even that bad, but
Being
risks,
progressive.
yeah.
I don't know. Like I feel and we can obviously go into a lot of detail about the shows, about Vivzy Pop, but I think one of the biggest things to at least acknowledge is that she is paving the way for a lot of indie animators in the industry, and
Hmm.
getting picked up by Amazon Prime is a huge deal
It
for an
is, yeah.
indie animator. Like to start on YouTube and then get picked up at Amazon Prime, that's like the dream, right? So she's paving the way a little bit. Not to say that there weren't people before her that did that, obviously are, but it's interesting because when you think about it and some of the quotes that I've seen are like not necessarily quotes, but I've read some articles about people discussing this, and a lot of them are talking about how I don't know if you agree with this or not, but
Okay.
the character design is very what somebody called like Tumblr-esque.
Okay.
Whereas I don't understand what that means. I was never a Tumblr person, so I don't know what that means. I know that she
I can
creates.
explain it a bit if you would like.
Yeah, if you would, because then I may have a
So
better idea.
yeah, so the Tumblr art style it's intended to be derogatory, right? It's intended
Oh,
to be
okay.
an insult to an art style or a artist in general. Basically, if an art style is popular enough on Tumblr, a lot of younger artists will see that style and bring it into their own art style, right?
Okay.
So it'll become almost like a trend. You could see,
Mhm.
like, when people talk about the Cal Arts style, they're talking about like the Steven Universe and the Gumball kind of style, where it's very rounded, very big eyes, very like bean shapes. But that doesn't mean that's not entirely Cal Arts. That's not an entire school's art style. That's
Yeah.
just an art style that is popular in animation. And with Fizzy Pop, because her style was not only very popular on Tumblr at the time, she was a very popular Tumblr artist for a long time, had comics and her like animations and stuff before she started really growing on YouTube and stuff. But so people will see that kind of style and immediately use the derogatory term of Tumblr art styles. And maybe I'm not using the word derogatory correctly. It might be a little bit too harsh, but it's intended to be an insult, right? It's intended to be
Oh.
something to call an art style ugly, unappealing,
Mm.
repetitive, not creative, not original.
That makes no
And there,
sense. How is it not original?
or even just like too woke is another thing as well, is Tumblr art styles are too woke. So some Tumblr art styles will be like, include body hair on people. So women will have unshaped legs, uh,
Okay.
or women would
Is
have
that not
like
okay for is
arm
this like a
hair.
hot take for women to not have shaved legs? Is
It
that
is when you draw them. It's a very hot take.
okay?
They would consider it because they consider it unappealing,
Oh,
and this Tumblr
okay.
artist is making it. Therefore, it's a part of the Tumblr art style. But all that to say, with Vizzy Pop's art style, it is very much like was popularized on Tumblr, therefore Tumblr art style. There's not really it's intended to be an insult. It's intended to be a jab at her woke agenda. It's intended to further insult the fact that her art style is the way that it is.
God forbid people just make art and have their own style and just enjoy making art in their own fucking style. God forbid.
Yeah.
Like
And
that.
every art style has critiques, right? Because in busy pop
Right.
style, you cannot really have plus sized models and characters without it being weird, right? She doesn't have a lot of examples that I've seen that aren't stout. You don't have
Right.
tall, bigger people. You have stout little people.
I
Not
think
little
there's
and
there's some side characters at least or like minor characters that I've seen that were taller and curvier. But if we're
Mhm.
talking about I think it's Mimsy. We're talking about like Mimsy who's like very like short and curvy.
That's who
Um
I thought of, yeah.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. I'm short and curvy, so represent. All right, go off Mimsy. I don't know. I When I hear that, it just makes me think of it almost feels like people can't even share their passions with the world anymore without people feeling like they're entitled to tell you what they think about it and like their opinion is going to change what you do with your art. And it's you can't just be happy with people that they found something that they love to do and that they're passionate
Mhm.
about doing and that they're sharing it with everybody. If you don't like it, good for you. Move on. Find something better to do with your life than sit there and trash on somebody who is just trying to do something that makes them happy. God forbid people do things that make them happy that aren't hurting anybody else. God forbid. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so that's annoying to hear that was what they meant. So, continuing with that thought is so I guess what they were saying then, now that you've explained that to me, is like somebody with Viv's art style, which is in their thought is not a good art style or not like an art style that would typically be picked up and streamed on a big platform. That's unique. And I'm like, but what, at what point, like, what constitutes unique art? What makes art good enough for streaming? There's so many different styles like Teen Titans Go, regular Teen Titans, like Cartoon Network shows, they all have different styles. Danny Phantom, Fairly Odd Parents, like Butch Hartman did a lot of he has a very specific style that you could tell that it was done by him. And I don't feel like anybody's ever complained about those shows and their art style. Like I might just be very chronically offline and I'm not a digital artist or an
Mhm.
illustrator, so I'm not in that field. I'm not in that community much, so I don't really know the politics. So it's interesting to me to hear that because I'm like, isn't a style just more of a subjective thing?
You would think so, yeah. Because in animation, the art style usually has to be simplified, right? So that way
Mhm.
it's easier on the animators to keep a consistent turnaround. That's
Yeah.
why styles if you were to look at the pilot episode of Steven Universe versus the Steven Universe that was released, the pilot designs are very unique, very illustrative, has a
Mhm.
lot of detail, but they were simplified
Yeah.
in the series. And a lot of people are like, "Oh, I wish they stuck with the original art. I wish they stuck with the pilot designs." And that's great. I'm glad you liked the pilot designs, but gotta keep in mind that with animation, consistency is key. You have to have something that's easy to draw, that's fast to draw, and usually what's easy and fast to draw are rounder bean shapes. That's
Mhm.
why it's such a popular art style in like media that we see nowadays. It's we see a lot of current cartoons have very soft round bean shapes or very simplified designs because it's really easy to animate. And that way we can get episodes out faster and all that kind of stuff. So with Busy Pop and her style, it is technically simplified from her usual style. There's not a lot of details, but it's still very much a lot of detail. So that there's a lot of work that goes into that. So there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of attention to detail,
Right.
which it makes her style very unique in that sense where it's like it's not that she doesn't care about the animators, obviously she does, but her designs are incredibly complicated in the realm of simplicity with character design. There's a lot of sharp angles, there's a lot of details in the hair, there's a lot of sections in the hair. If I recall, their profiles are pretty sharp. They're not really thinking so much in the 3D space so much as thinking flat. I could be thinking of a different art style. It's been a while. But there's, like, a lot of patterns, there's a lot of asymmetry, right? You can't just take one part of the body, flip it around, and call it a day. You have to individually draw the stripes or the patterns on wings or on clothes on and all that stuff, which could take a lot of time, which is probably why any big studio name wouldn't accept Has Been Hotel and Hell of a Boss because it's really complicated, and I'm sure Vizzy Pop, because of her very iconic designs and her very iconic art style, would not want to, what's the word? Negotiate on that, wouldn't wanna lose that part of her baby. Like, that's her baby looks like that and needs to
Mm.
come out like that. And also she's an animator herself, so she understands this already. She understands how complicated it is to animate her characters. She's done it before. Um,
Yeah.
so she is aware of the struggles and I can animate this. I know people who on my team who can animate this. Therefore, I'm not going to negotiate down on this art style if they can also do it. If I know that this can be possible. I don't want to lose that creative integrity if I can help it. That's just me assuming. I don't know her. I wasn't in the room. This is just based off of my knowledge of the industry and from what Busy Pop has given and indicated in interviews from her personality. But but that could also be another part, and to get back on topic a little bit, another part that could be the reason why it wasn't picked up by mainstream is because Busy Pop is very adamant about having her characters be openly and clearly queer.
Yeah.
There's no negotiating on that. They are gay characters. There is a clear lesbian relationship between 2 of the
Mhm.
characters that were established before the canon of the story. That's
Mhm.
already there. There is romantic tension between 2 male characters during the start of the
Mhm.
show. There is implied polygamy with the V's. There
Mm.
is and even in Hell of a Boss, there is literally a trans imp that is like Millie's sister, and I can't remember if this was explicitly said or if it was all implied, but the way I found out about it was because of people's due diligence in the series, and they were like, "Oh, male imps have this horn pattern and female imps have this horn pattern, but she has a different horn pattern, therefore she's a trans woman." And I was like, "That's really clever," because again, I didn't watch the whole series, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but if she didn't explicitly say, "Hey, my sister's a trans woman," or "This she's
Mhm.
trans," that whole entire part of her identity just being implicit, just
Yeah.
for something that for the audience, for the fans to figure out, is really good and really nice because it doesn't bring the fact that, "Oh, this character is trans," to the forefront of that character. Like, you
Mhm.
wouldn't know that she was trans until you've figured out the whole imp horn thing, and I really enjoy that. I think that's a great way to show trans representation in a visual style that doesn't compromise the feminine design of that woman. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
sometimes when it comes to trans characters, they try to overcorrect almost or make a very feminine man or a very masculine woman and be like, "Oh, they're trans." And I don't like that. I don't like how some series try to imply that they're trans by going the other way or still giving them feminine or masculine qualities depending on which way they turned.
It's also,
Um,
like, erasing the fact that, like, you can you can have whatever traits you want, and it doesn't erase
yeah,
who you are.
yeah,
One of my characters, like, in one of the podcast story that'll come up, he's very openly gay, very feminine, very, like, ridiculously dramatic and over the top, but that's just how he is. It's not meant to be like,
yes,
this is how all gay men are. It's
yeah,
literally there's some people who are just happy with life, and they're just happy people, and, like, I had a boss,
mhm,
a cisgender female boss who was like that. She was just
yeah,
like I was like, "Girl, are you on something? Cause can you give me some?" Because she was so happy. I was like, "How is one person this happy all the time?" I don't know, and it scares me. But at the same time,
yeah,
like, anytime she was in the room, like, it was just l she lit up the room, she boosted everybody's energy. It was and she was our manager, so it was so
mhm,
much fun to work with her because she was always just a joy and a positive person to be around. But people, I feel like in media nowadays, because there are some stereotypes that
yeah,
lead people to think that a character is one way or the other, that's really not how like being a human works. Like you can
mhm,
completely have whatever set of traits that are unique to you. They can either fit into a box or not. But at the end of the day, people need to stop pigeonholing characters into one thing or the other and see them as characters that are
yeah,
like people unique and they all have different aspects of their personality if they're fully fleshed out that
mhm,
they have background maybe like their what is it called how they were raised contributed to how they
yeah,
act now like traumas that they went through anything that can contribute to that that you may not know in the first season, you may not know in the first episode, like, it might be something where they're, like, leaving a trail of breadcrumbs for the audience to figure out, or they could just be like, "I'm here, I'm queer, I'm here, I'm gay, hello, I'm fabulous," and there's nothing
yeah,
wrong about that.
yeah,
People are so quick to judge and to put their expectations on a character's identity and how they should act in order to find the representation good enough, which
mhm,
is weird because even if we're talking about Hazbin Hotel with Lucifer, I don't know canon, I'm not really sure what his sexuality is canon, but obviously he was with Lilith and but people are now like because he's so like eccentric and he's high energy and he's woo like immediately assume that he has to be bi or he has to be pan or he
yeah,
has to be this. And I'm like, but the thing is, like, people can't just be who they are without you having to label them.
yeah, exactly,
Just let them be their character and be more than what they identify as. No one is just only who they identify as. There's more to
mhm,
people, there's more to characters. In good writing, they're multifaceted. It's not just this is the gay character, this is the straight character.
yeah,
And I don't like for me, I've written straight characters in a lot of my stories. That doesn't mean that there's not gonna be LGBTQ plus representation. Like, I
mhm,
think some creators too feel like a pressure almost to not get canceled or called
mhm,
out because, like, their characters at the forefront of the story are presenting as heteronormative. But you don't know. You don't know. They could be curious. You don't know what happened in their past. You gotta watch it. You gotta know the story, and
yeah,
it's sad to me to see, like, creators forced into a corner of,
mm,
"Wait, but if you write about a heterosexual couple, you're not representing LGBT." I'm like, "So are we just not supportive of everybody now? Is it like"
yeah,
so I understand, and that's why it's hard, right? There should be more representation in media. There should be more representation in media of everybody and all minorities and all abilities and all sexualities. That doesn't mean that you have to erase other people's identities as well. Everybody
yeah,
is allowed to be who they are. Everybody should feel like they're allowed to be seen and live their life as long as they're not hurting anybody and going out of their way to be a menace to society. Why does it matter if the main character is queer or not. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay for them to not and for the creator to be backed into a corner, like, I'm saying this as a queer woman, I'm not gonna be upset if I watch media about a straight couple.
Mhm.
I don't care if
We
it's
just want
about
it to be good.
I'm like, "I don't care whether your characters are straight or queer. I care if the writing is good and if the story is." We just finished watching The Good Place, Amanda
Mhm.
and I. Oh my god. Just oh, that it's not for this podcast, but I we were so invested in that show. The writing was so good, and the main characters, pretty much all of the couples that get together are, like, heterosexual couples, all of them. But then there's the main character, like, kinda hits on the girls occasionally, and it's people are like, "Oh," I'm like, "Just let it be what it is. Just let it."
Yeah.
We need to stop putting so much pressure and expectation on works of literature and works of media because over time, it's just gonna become like, people are gonna be too afraid to have ideas
Yeah.
because not everyone is gonna agree with what you wanna do or what you wanna say, or people who are in the LGBTQ plus community. Obviously, we wanna see more representation, and the representation that we do have, like some of the movies that I've watched that I could list that I'll go into, for example, I've noticed a lot of lesbian movies, Debs, But I'm a Cheerleader, Loving Annabelle, Chasing Amy. There's a lot of interesting ones, and usually from the ones that I've seen or like the L Word or Lip Service, similar like TV shows, it's always like one woman has to be dominant and the other one has to be submissive. And there's no in between. And the dominant one is usually a brunette and the submissive one is usually a blonde. And I'm just like, I did a whole project on this in college. I'm not even kidding. Because I got my degree in gender studies, I know. But it's interesting that, and I'm like, what psychology goes into the fact that, like, why is the dominant one in the relationship always almost always brunette or older?
Yeah.
The dominant woman in the relationship is either older with an age gap that's sketchy or brunette. And then it's like the younger one is always the one that's either submissive or they're very like, I'm chasing you, older lady. And it just,
Yeah.
there's not a lot of realistic, I feel like, representation. It's more from what I've seen. I think a lot of LGBTQ plus media is almost fetishized.
I agree. I feel like they either fetishize or they fall onto those stereotypes,
Yeah.
for the sake of representation.
Oh, look, we did it, but that's not a
Like,
realistic relationship.
yeah, like, they give up on writing good characters or writing a
Right.
compelling story because they're so focused on getting their gay quota or to fight the queer baiting allegations, and it's, "No, we just want a good fucking story that has
Like,
gay characters." Like, if they're
obviously
not yeah.
obviously, Charlie has to be the dominant one in the relationship because she wears something that resembles a tuxedo.
Yeah.
Or what? Okay, I'm sorry. That is just as intense. And, like, the whole dominant submissive thing, I feel like that kinda gets thrown around too. Like, even when Amanda and I go out as a married lesbian couple, they always give her the check,
Yeah.
even if I wanna pay. Like, sometimes the good restaurants will put it right in the middle. So that I don't, like, make an assumption, but Amanda has very short hair, and she dresses more masculine than I do. I'm very androgynous, but sometimes I'll wear, like, a nice dress, or I'll just wear, like, whatever I want, whatever I'm feeling that day, but Amanda's always in pretty more, like, I would say athleisure wear or, like, jeans and, like, a t-shirt.
Yeah.
She presents very masculine, or if we wanna use the word, like, butch, she presents that way. And that's how she's comfortable, that's how she likes to present, there's nothing wrong with that. But then people even nowadays, even though we've come so far with representation and not stigmatizing people until you look more like the man in the relationship, so I'm going to give you the bill, which is a whole nother issue. So there's a whole other separate podcast for that. But that always annoyed me because what if I want to treat my wife to dinner, but they're going to assume that she's taking the check because she has short hair?
Yeah.
What? Women can take men out to dinner too and pay. It's not weird. It's 2025. There's so many like societal weird rules that society puts on people. Okay, we'll accept you, but you need to reach this criteria though.
Yeah.
And it's stupid. There's so much more to people that can ever be labeled or described. You can't do that because people are all gonna be unique. We're not made from the same atoms or molecules. We're all completely different. So why are we trying to categorize people? Because it's easier for society to know and to guess who you are. Like, why does it matter? Why do you need to know? They're just a person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have to matter, and there shouldn't be pressure on which way a story should go or how what the characters should do or look like or who they should love or how they should act. Just make a good story. That's what matters. If you're upset about the couple being straight presenting, I don't know what to tell you. It's a weird thing to be angry about. We have too many straight presenting couples in media. That's totally fair. And
Yeah.
we need to have more diversity in media and in literature. That at the same time, though, when we have that, I feel like it's a catch-22 because then when we have that, it's almost like we said, it's fetishized almost, and it's not really
Mhm.
representing, like, real queer relationships.
Yeah.
And even if it is, people will see it as not good enough, not meeting my
Yes.
expectations. No one's
I was
ever gonna
gonna
be happy.
Yeah. I was gonna add on to that because there are because gender is a spectrum, because sexuality is a spectrum, there's a lot of nuance, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people hate it when creators make characters that fall into that nuance because they're like, "Oh, that's not good representation." It's no, there are characters who are like that. Yamato from One Piece. I don't know if
Mm,
you've seen him,
no.
but he looks like a woman.
Okay.
He is drawn as in the same stylization as the other woman in One Piece, as a
Mhm.
very hourglass figure. He goes by he, him pronouns. He is known as the son of Kaito. He is a son. He is a man. He identifies as a man. Everyone calls him a man, but he looks like a woman. He does not pass. And
Right.
that frustrates a lot of people. A lot of
Mhm.
people are misunderstanding his character because he doesn't look like a man. He's not passing. He's not masculine enough. He is comfortable in his skin, presenting as a woman. He doesn't feel gender dysphoria. Is happy how he looks, but he is
Yeah.
just a man. And that there is nuance in that. There are trans men who do feel comfortable presenting like
Mm,
a woman.
yeah.
That does not make it bad representation, that does not make it inaccurate representation, and it really fucking grinds my gears because it's, "Oh, look, a trans man, and we all hate him because
Mm,
he's not
yeah.
who he
Up to
thi
our
who he."
standards
Yes, up
or
to the
what we want him to
standard.
be. Yeah,
Yeah, and
it's
it really frustrates me as a trans man because it's those trans men who look feminine, who pass as feminine, so they're not men anymore. That's the line you're drawing, is that they're not men anymore. So I wasn't a man before I started looking like one. It just really bothered
when it's
me.
what does a man look like? What does a woman what does a non-binary
Exactly.
person look like? What's the definition? Cite your resources. I don't
Mm,
people are not supposed to be defined like that. Like, people are just supposed to exist. I feel like truly spiritually, like, it's gotten so off track with development of people being just who they are. Like, at the end of the day, when we all pass away, we're gonna be, like, We're gonna be dead. It's not gonna fucking matter what clothes you wear or how your hair is laying. It's not gonna matter. You're gonna be dead and you're gonna be like a little ball of light floating around in the universe. Like, and from what I truly believe, it's when we pass, it's just love. It's love and light and good energy. And that's what it really should be in the world. There's so much judgment because humans have this need to be right. Humans have this need to always like understand, and if I don't understand it, it's not right, which is very selfish and narrow-minded for you to look at it like that. It's similar to in the beginning of my relationship with Amanda when she still had a lot of old mindsets, I would say, like very conservative. I don't know how to explain it, but for an example, like she would say, "Oh, because you're with a woman, like you wouldn't have the desire to be with a man." And I was like, "No, I see Jason Momoa and my ovaries explode. I'm sorry. Damn. Like, but that doesn't mean that I'm gonna act on those. If I'm in a
Right.
relationship, like I'm in a relationship with you. That doesn't mean I'm not gonna see Jason Momoa pop up on my screen and start barking and howling. Like I will. And it's not because I want to be with a man. It's because as a pansexual queer woman, I'm like, everyone is hot. Help me. And that's the struggle is I can find anyone attractive regardless of their gender. That doesn't mean that I wanna be with that person. That doesn't mean I'm gonna divorce my wife and try to go marry Jason Momoa. No, it just means that people are able to be attracted to whoever they're attracted to. It's an attraction, it's not an action.
Yeah.
And it's people, I think, are trying to be too controlling of the narrative of how other people identify and live their lives. And because of that, it translates into media. It translates into, now I can't control you, so I'm going to control your characters' narratives. And I'm either going to agree with you or disagree with you. And if I disagree with you, you're a bad writer or you're a bad person or you're not doing XYZ right.
Yeah.
It comes to the point where it's just, yes, there should be more representation in media and there should be flexibility for characters to just exist as their authentic selves, just like people exist as their authentic selves. There shouldn't be any hate or expectations around it. Just accept that people are going to be different and unique to who they are. It doesn't make anything bad because the characters are straight or because the characters are queer and then it's, oh, the gay agenda now, everything is whatever. And I'm like, that's stupid too. That's also dumb. You're like, people want to have their cake and eat it too. And they also don't want to see anything that doesn't align with their views, which if everybody agreed on everything, there wouldn't ever be any discourse or communication. There wouldn't be that challenge of challenging the mindset of what people think. And when they see new media or read new literature, like challenging them to think differently, challenging them to see beyond their own self.
Yeah.
That's really the problem because when you're judging other people, you're really being more judgmental of yourself. And it may not seem that way, but if you look internally, there's something within you that you're not happy about. There's something within you that is missing or that is hurting that you feel the need to put this negativity on other people
Mhm.
and to tear them down for just making a story that they're passionate about because it doesn't fit what you want. It's not your story, number one. Like, you don't have to enjoy it, you don't have to watch it or engage or consume it. It's not your story.
Yeah.
They should be allowed to do whatever the hell they want with their story.
Yes.
Unless somebody is writing a story that is to hurt others, like I always say, with harm to none, unless you're going out of your way to be hateful and harmful, then that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
If it's just a story, just let them tell their story. What is the problem? I don't get it.
Yeah. And I feel like what happens with a lot of beginner writers or
Mhm.
beginner creators is because they don't have a lot of experience with
Mhm.
LGBTQ people,
Yeah.
Just because you are one does not mean that you know the entire expansion. I'm a trans man. That doesn't mean I understand all of the nuances that being a lesbian or just a gay woman or a bi woman is.
Yeah.
That's an entirely different part of the community.
Yeah, you only know your existence.
Exactly. So you know your own stereotypes, but that doesn't
Right.
mean that you don't know sorry, but that means that you don't know the stereotypes of others as well as you think you do. So I feel
Mhm.
like that's something that a lot of people need to understand is if you're not part of that sexuality, there's going to be stereotypes that you might accidentally be catering to that
Yeah.
are toxic. Like what you said with the brunette and the blonde
Yeah.
lesbian couple. I personally did not realize that stereotype. I did not
Yeah.
until you said it, I was like, "Oh my god. No, yeah, that happens a lot."
Yeah.
So that's, like, something to keep in mind or just, "Oh my god, yeah, that's probably a stereotype I should be aware of." That doesn't mean you have to avoid it.
Yeah.
You can
It doesn't
have a
mean that,
brunette.
like, that
Yeah.
doesn't happen. Like, it
Yeah,
happens.
'cause it happens. That's why they're stereotypes is because they happen. But the point is to develop beyond that stereotype, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a brunette and a blonde, and one's dominant, one's submissive. Maybe give the dominant some softer points of their
Yeah.
character, right? Maybe they talk to their plants. They're a plant
Yeah.
mom. Maybe
Yeah.
like the blonde boxes, right? Like, you can
Right.
add stuff to their characters that make them more than those stereotypes of
Mhm.
dominant versus submissive. And I think that's
Yeah.
something that a lot of people need to understand is these queer characters are characters first,
Yeah.
right? And they are gonna need habits, they're gonna need motivation, they're gonna need likes and dislikes, and you can choose those. They're not
Yeah.
preset. You can choose those to give them the depth and the juxtaposition to their identity very to give them that more fleshed out, rounded appearance. Because I feel like a lot of bad representation of LGBT fall victim to just bad writing,
Yeah.
where it's not good. It's just not good. Like in Voltron, one of the characters, Shiro, is revealed to have left behind a husband, but we don't realize that he's gay or has a husband until literally we come back to Earth and he's, "Oh my god, my husband." And it's, "What?"
Mhm.
This entire time, like, he didn't have any hints. He didn't look at any men. There was no background in the background. He's, "Oh, that's a very attractive guy." Like, there was no hints. It was just like gay. And it's okay, that's bad writing.
Yeah.
Okay, you just made him gay because you wanted to fill out your gay bingo card. You wanted to
Mhm.
click off your free gay coupon. That's bad writing. That's not good because it's not part of the character that you've known since the beginning.
Yeah.
You can put in hints and then reveal later, "Hey, I have a husband," because it's, "Oh, in season 3, he was standing next to a rainbow," or he was being flirted with by a gay alien or like a masculine alien. There is ways you can hint at the fact that this character is gay and then do a reveal later.
Or even if they're bi,
Or even if they're bi.
who's to say even if the main character is into if the main character is a man into another man that they can't also like women or like
Mhm.
other genders? Does that erase the fact that they're attracted to men? No.
Yeah.
Means they're attracted to whoever the hell they wanna be attracted to. That's just how it is. Like, they can be most multifaceted like people. Just
Yeah.
because the main characters are heterosexual presenting, doesn't mean that one of them hasn't dated the other sex before or the same sex before, like, it's really not that black and white. Like, you can't just make those assumptions. It's something like characters have to be explored and have to be learned, and they have to be y like, I don't know what the right word would be, but they need to be explored as more than what you want or need them to be to fit your narrative. That's not what they're there for. They're there to tell a story. Like, people aren't here to fit your narrative. People are here to do what they are meant to do when they are born. Like, they're not here to
Mhm.
do whatever it is to appease you. And that's why all of this like discrimination and bullshit happening in the world is terrible. Like we try so hard to control the narrative and to control other people. Have we not learned at this point that doesn't work? It just makes things awful for everybody. And so why are we putting that on even the smallest of things, which is like media, which a
Mhm.
lot of times is fiction, like fake characters who don't really exist, who aren't real, who are like an alien or something, like, and getting so upset that they're not identifying the way that you want them to. That's delulu.
Yeah.
Like, just let people tell their stories, and if there's something truly wrong with the story, you can leave constructive criticism, but that
Mhm.
constructive criticism should be constructive. It shouldn't just be like, I don't like this character because XYZ and because they
Yeah.
said they're gay, but their boyfriend looks like this. Like even it's just the
Yeah.
simple things that I can't even fathom sometimes when I'm thinking about them that people come up
Mhm.
with that it just seems like it's just silly and people want to find something to be upset about or complain about instead of just enjoying the media and the story for what it is. And if you don't like the story, that's different. If you have a friend who's a writer and they come to you like, "Hey, give me your thoughts." That's awesome. Give them your thoughts. Tell them what you think about it. That doesn't mean that they have to take what you say and put it into their story. That's their story.
Yeah.
But if they're asking for your feedback, like you can always tell them, "Hey, this might cater to this stereotype or this might not be the best way to reveal a character has a husband." Like it
Yeah.
there's so many different ways that you can go about things without just straight up attacking it and saying that it's a bad representation.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. And this is gonna probably rock the boat a little bit,
oh no.
but
I'm
I
sitting
have
down.
yeah, it's time for me to be up on my soapbox.
Okay.
For my hot take, I feel like a lot of people focus so much on romantic ships
Mm,
and romantic stuff that they just completely bypass platonic anything.
yeah.
And it bothers me a lot. I feel like there are a lot of animes, I'll say, that have very strong rivalries between two male characters, right?
Yeah.
Because that's just how rivalry works is you compete. And a lot of people will take those rivalries and they will amp it up to be romantic. That doesn't mean I'm not saying that they can't be. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that they aren't sparks. What I mean is sometimes the curtains are just blue, guys. Sometimes they're just really best friends. They just
Sometimes
care
there's a
about each
deeper
other.
meaning. Like look
Yeah.
read between the lines. Maybe it is romantic, but is there something else contributing to
Yeah.
it? It's not solely just but me want to bang this person.
Yeah. And I
Eh,
feel like it also just really dumbs down how important friendships are. I don't know if you've ever had a good friend, but sometimes you would die for them. You would
Right.
do anything. Like,
Okay.
like,
Oh my god.
not to get all Naruto and Sasuke about it, but fuck, I'd chase you down for 3 fucking years to bring you home if I had to.
Yeah.
It's this.
Oh shit.
But like sometimes you care about people so much
Yeah.
and it can be romantic, but it can also be platonic. It can
Yeah.
also just be because they're your family, because you
Yeah.
love them so much. And I feel like
Yeah.
that is a nuance that gets lost a
Mhm.
lot because as someone who is asexual, I
Mhm.
have a lot of struggle figuring out platonic versus romantic feelings sometimes because I could feel so strongly for someone, like I care about them so much
Yeah.
that my brain is like, is this technically romantic enough? Like I've had many
Mm.
crushes on people where
Are
I
you
would be like,
confessing
oh,
to me right now?
no,
What is
no, we are both married. Don't be weird. So I don't know if that was a bit or not. You just it was just dead
I just
air.
derailed you.
You really did. I am
Sorry.
in utter shock. I'm like, "Oh my god. You know what, Ray? Not everything is about you."
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. I'm gonna go do some self-reflection. Be right back.
Yeah, you go sit, do self-reflection. I'm gonna continue standing on my soapbox.
That's
Uh,
fair. Do that, yeah.
you go reflect.
Okay.
Um,
Alright.
but yeah, like I have struggles with platonic versus romantic relation, like
Yeah.
feelings and stuff. And that has always been a struggle with me. I have fallen, quote unquote, in and out of love with friends before, being like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I care about them so much. I clearly have a crush on them. And then either I confess or I don't, or like nothing happens. And then the feelings go away or they go back to normal. And it's just,
Yeah.
oh, no, it was just platonic. It was just very strong platonic. And I
Yeah.
feel like there's an entire subsection in queer relationships where it's just queer platonic relationships.
Like, love is
Like
just love, man. Like,
love is just love. You can just love people. And
yeah.
you can define what that love is, and only you can define whether or not that's romantic or platonic. But I feel like there's not enough emphasis on platonic love
Yeah.
and how important it is and how big it is. Because people will take those moments out of context and be like, oh, see, clearly they love each other because they hugged for
Right.
3.5 seconds. And
Or they're, like,
okay,
flirting with each other, and that obviously means that
yeah.
they like each other. I'm like, "Do you know how many times my friend of" I'm not gonna drop names, but I have a very longtime friend who we're like, "What's up?" It's just how we talk to each other, and it's always been that way. Does that mean that we actually have feelings for each other? No. Does that mean that I would die for this person because they're, like, my rock and, like, a platonic soulmate? Yes. That doesn't mean that I'm gonna go to bed with them.
Yeah.
It's things that are so simple as you could be close to somebody and your relationship can be different for each friendship or each relationship. It can be completely different. Just because somebody doesn't like it or doesn't
Mhm.
understand it doesn't make it less authentic for you. But it also
Yeah.
doesn't mean that you get to assume what those people's intentions are. Their friendship is their own.
Mm.
So you need to let them have that. You can ask questions, but like you can't just come to conclusions about people based on your own bias. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. And
So,
it's like a lot of people, like with straight couples, it's like, why
yeah.
can't a man and a woman just be friends? And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, can we have that same energy for gay people, please? Same sex friends
Yeah.
or same gender friends? Like, you can't, sometimes, yes, sometimes it is romantic.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get a kiss on screen. We are now in the modern times, people. We can get
Yes.
gay kisses on stream, on not stream, on screen.
That too, but
Yeah.
like,
So now that we're allowed to be gay on screen and get our kisses on screen, can we go back to being like sometimes boys are just friends, sometimes girls are just friends? Because we
yes.
are able to get those kisses on screen.
Yeah.
Yes, some of them are a little like harder to get, like with what was it called? The Owl House. That series was cut short by Disney despite having a huge fan audience
Yeah.
because the writers were like, we're not gonna cut out the gay. We're not gonna make
Yeah.
the lesbian couple not be gay. And so they smushed it all in one season, and it was like
Mhm.
a great season. It was great. So yeah, there is going to be some censorship, but it's also in the power of the creators to stand their ground and be like, okay, we'll rush it, but they're still gonna fucking kiss in the end.
Right.
Fuck you.
Yeah, it
Like,
reminds me of Legend of Korra, like, at the end
yes,
of that
exactly.
because I was like they, like, faded away, and I was like, I was so upset because I was like, "Listen, like, you've been hinting at this. Is this, like, a friendship?" And that's again I can understand how people get so invested, and then they're like, "You gotta give me answers." No, they don't. You can draw your own conclusion, but at the same time, like, there's 2 sides, and both sides are valid, right? So they
Yeah,
can be like, "Oh, I'm upset that you were leading up to this and giving me the assumption that they were gonna kiss or giving me the assumption that they were gonna be together and then you didn't clarify." But then again, it's almost
yeah,
like on the opposite end of that argument, maybe they didn't show it because that's for their life to know. You know what I mean? That's
yeah,
for their those characters to end the series the way that they're gonna end it, and it's not always satisfying to
Mhm.
people who, like, feel like they got teased, but it's in a way, think about it as a real life situation. You're not gonna know specifically everything about that person's relationship or what they're gonna do
Mhm.
or how they're feeling, and it's nobody's business. So in a way, they ended it like, make your own assumption, but it's none of your business. Like, whatever
Yeah.
happens between these two, you can draw your own conclusion, but this is just how it ended. Maybe they don't know. Maybe they're holding hands because they're besties. We don't know. Maybe it's platonic and maybe it's romantic. We don't know that. But what gives us the right to demand that explanation? Just let them exist and be in their own authentic fiction
Yeah.
realities.
And personally, in my opinion, I'm still on my soapbox with my bad opinions.
Who
I
said
feel
there were
like
bad opinions?
they're hot opinions.
Okay.
I don't know if this is a hot opinion, but I would rather have a gay ship be end the series non-canon
Yeah.
than have a canon ending, just because that way it's up to the fans
Yeah.
to make them gay or not. It's up to you. If you want to make the two boys kiss as adults, go for it. If you want to make the two girls kiss, go ahead.
Fan fiction, bro. Like,
Fan fiction, fan art,
yeah.
fan works, fan projects. You can make fucking Sasuke and Naruto kiss if you want, guys. No
Yeah.
one's stopping you. I don't care if they have wives. They can kiss on the DL. It's
Right.
not That's what fan fiction is for. That's what fan works are for, is for people to just have fun and do whatever
Mhm.
they want. This is not me saying that, "Oh, I don't want any gay rap at all." I want good gay rap. I want
Yeah.
intentional gay rap. I want
Yeah.
gay rap that is intentional, that means something,
Mhm.
that is important to the character. I want it to be both implicit but explicit at the same time.
Yeah.
It's it doesn't have to be in my face, but I want it to be obvious enough. That's what subtext is for.
Yeah.
Use it, guys, use it. I do not need to have every introduction of every queer person in every queer character to be like, "Hi, I'm Melissa. I'm a lesbian." Show me, don't tell me. Show me through her countless list of exes that all have feminine names. Show me through a little pride flag pin on her poster board in the background. It
Mhm.
does not have to be explicit. You can imply it. It's not that hard, guys. It's really not that hard to make it good. Just make it good. That's all I want. All I want is good. I don't care what form it takes. I just want it to be good.
Yeah. And that's what's important, right? Is and I think everybody can also draw their own conclusions on to them what's good and what's not. And that can be
Yes.
subjective. But like I think in a lot of our podcasts, the underlying common denominator of everything is just try to approach things with kindness and understanding instead of, I need to find a reason to be angry at this and I need to find a reason to spread negativity and hate because that just
It's
doesn't help anybody. And if you can try to live life a little lighter, if you can try to find the joy and the positivity in things, not saying like toxic positivity, you don't need to be like everything is great all the time because that's not realistic, but trying to have the balance of dissecting things and like really focusing on how it's making you feel, why it's making you feel that way. And if this is something that you truly like, if this is a hill you really want to die on, is it worth it? Or is this just something that because of something that you've gone through or something internally with you that's bothering you? Like it's so much deeper than any of us think. And the black and white version of yes, we need more representation and diversity in all media, in musicals, in plays, in all performances, in art, in literature. There's always room for more diversity. It's never going to be at like a cap. There's always room
Mhm.
for more. the more that we stigmatize it and put all of these expectations on it, the harder it's gonna be to give all of that representation. The harder it's gonna be for people to feel like they can authentically just put those out and have them be received in a positive light. It doesn't mean
Yes.
that you can't criticize them if there's things to criticize, or you're allowed to have your opinions and you're valid in your opinions, but you need to also, like, try to figure out if this is something that you're coming at from, "I'm just doing this because I want something to be angry and mean towards," or am I actually trying to help this creator have a different perspective
Mhm.
or provide some kind of insight that might help? There's been a lot of times in my writing where my friends have, like, peer edited or looked at my work and have told me things where I'm like, "Oh, I didn't think about it that way," or, "Oh, that's a good idea," or even me going, "Nope, that's not what I want." Like, it's
Yeah.
any of those things where the communication and the conversation that happens around these things, it doesn't need to be taken so, like, it's either a fight or it's not. It just needs to
Mhm.
be a conversation. It doesn't need to be so serious. Like, just have a conversation and have open communication. Try not to use hurtful language. Try not to tear projects down because they do something that you don't agree with, because it might be somebody else's, like, safety. There might be a piece of literature or media that you hate, and that is like somebody's safety. And by
Yeah.
you tearing that down needlessly, you're indirectly harming the people that it really helps and that really care about it. And then it's taking away that enjoyment for people who enjoy it. Like the same thing with fandoms. People get
Mhm.
so angry at people for being in specific fandoms that it's like, we can't just, as a human race, as a society, just let people live and let people enjoy things, and with harm to none, not doing anything to hurt people and going out of their way to do bad things, letting people have their own interests and have their own ideas of what makes them happy, and that not be something that you have to correct because it doesn't suit your narrative.
Yeah.
That's taking enjoyment away from other people's, and there's already so much negativity in the world that we don't need that. Trying to come at it from an air of understanding, even saying, "I don't agree with you. If you enjoy it, awesome. I'm happy for you." It's that simple of saying, "I hate this actor because XYZ. I don't like their work. I think that they're not funny." Doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't really like that actor, or that actor isn't a person who has a family.
Yeah.
It's very there's a lot of different layers that go into it, and most of our podcast surrounds that of the topics that we discussed. There's so many layers to it that you can't just say yes or no to one
Yeah.
side or the other, because that's not how life is. It's a communication and a conversation of, this is why it's confusing to be a human, and this is why it's interesting to have conversations about these things, because you want to be validating of how people feel and how they think. At the same time, you want to correct issues that could be damaging to society. And then on the other side of that, who decides what's damaging and who decides what's not? And then
Mhm.
it's a constant, endless loop of just people having the conversations that need to be
Yes.
had, and having them with an air of understanding and respect, and not coming at it from, "You don't agree with me on this, so you're canceled, you're horrible, blah, blah, blah." We need to get to a place as a society where we can just have conversations with each other and disagree if we need to, but that doesn't turn into hate. The disagreements don't need to turn into hate. That's an that's not necessary. You can disagree with people, like when you were kids, somebody wanted to play blocks with you and you said no. "Oh, I'm never gonna play with you again. You didn't want to play blocks with me. I hate you, and I'm gonna go tell all the other kids in daycare that you're mean." It's like that kind of mindset where
Yeah.
we're adults now. We can have conversations and disagree with each other without it turning into something dramatic. So it's I think that's important, to have conversations like these that are difficult, and it feels like sometimes we're talking about something and then going back on it and then going forward and then going back. And it's interesting when you think about it because there's no clear answer to any problem.
Mm,
There's only what we can do to continue moving forward and trying our best to improve the quality of life that we have and the quality of life of the people around us with love and light and not damaging words and painful actions. Like, it doesn't need to get to that point, but because we're inherently flawed as people, I don't think like having that mindset is going to come naturally to everyone in the world, if even a select few people. It really takes a lot of life experience and soul searching, and I would argue therapy to challenge the way that you see things and give you new perspectives. Sit down with people who are different than you. Sit down with people who have had different upbringings, who are different culturally, who are different in any kind of way. Have like open conversations with them about it. And instead of saying, oh, I don't agree with that, now we can't have the conversation anymore, ask more questions. Ask why. Try to understand. And then the same thing for them towards you.
yeah.
Having that communication is really important in how we can learn about each other and come together more instead of it always turning into an us versus them. I'm off my soapbox now. Mhm. I just booted you off and I was like, okay, hold on. Okay, my turn.
No, it's okay. I stepped down like a while ago. You got it.
Thanks. Yeah. It's something too because for the longest time, I didn't do live streams or anything like that because I always was so subconscious that anything I said was going to be taken and taken out of context and twisted to make me look a certain way or
Yeah.
to turn people against me. And it took a little while for me to like really sit with it and then again talk to my therapist about it. But it's crazy because you can't please everybody and
You cannot.
you just have to tell yourself that people are going to be how they're going to be. And as long as you are doing your best every single day and putting your best foot forward, trying to do good things and not going out of your way to be harmful, then if people are going to be negative, then that's something that they need to work on within themselves. They need to reflect on. They need to have more life experience that offers a different crossroads to them to say, you can
Mhm.
continue down this path or you can change your thinking and maybe improve and go down this other way, this other path. I would always say challenging my own thoughts has been really helpful because now I can do these podcasts and I do still have that little voice in the back of my head all the time. Like, I don't think it's ever going to really
Mhm.
leave because of my anxiety, but there's always that little voice inside my head that's, "You're gonna say something wrong. Somebody's take it out of context, and you're gonna get" and it's just
Yeah.
that nagging voice of, "Don't say something wrong. Don't say something not woke," and I'm like,
Don't be controversial.
"Don't be controversial," and so I try to feel like but then I feel like I won't ever speak my mind or say anything if I'm
Mhm.
constantly in my own head and thinking that I'm not allowed to say anything.
Yeah.
If people wanna take it any way they wanna take it, okay. I, at the end of the day, know who I am. I know my heart. I know what's in my soul, and I know how I intend things and how I put myself out there every day. And that's a very important message that I would have for everybody listening is that at the end of the day, you're alone with yourself. Like, you have people around you who love you, but you're the only one that lives within yourself, that knows yourself and knows who you are. If you need work, because we all do.
Mhm.
And no one's ever going to be perfect or needing not to learn new lessons. No one's ever going to be too old to learn. It's all about perspective and about thinking, challenging yourself. Do I really need to say this? Is this imperative that I make this argument? Do I really need to ruin my relationship over this? Do I need to start a fight over this? Is it
Mhm.
worth the energy? Because most of the time it's not.
Yeah.
So why put so much stress on yourself and the other person where you could just have a conversation even if you don't agree? It's more enlightening anyway if you don't agree with somebody, because then you learn to bounce ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
So I think for me, my biggest anxiety for talking, especially for long periods, is always that I'm afraid of what other people are going to think of me. I'm afraid of how people are going to paint me or narratives that people are going to use about me. And I still have those fears, and it's still very much a thing that I think about, but it's gotten better
Mm.
in the past year because it's definitely come with me saying, I can't control what other people do, say, or think. And I know that at the end of the day, I have a very strong support system. And
Mhm.
I myself and you guys listening lean on those people that really do know you and will stand by you. And the people who, if you are doing something that's problematic, will call you out on it. Real friends will tell you, like, hey, that's a little, I don't like that. We should work on that. And it doesn't have to be, I don't like that. Fuck you. I hate you forever. Goodbye. It can be, hey, I've noticed this. Maybe this is something that we can explore if you feel like, if you agree that this is something that you should work on. And having that mutual conversation of it not always being just them telling you, like, hey, change your shit. You can tell them that too, and they're receptive to that. Having those open dialogues are very important. And
Yeah.
looping it back around to representation in media, I think it starts with representing ourselves and our own relationships and our own interpersonal relationships, because what we do in our lives is what we project and put out into the world. So, if you really think about it, that's a lot of the reason you might get upset over things is because there's something that is unhealed or unresolved within yourself that you could take another look at and discuss or bounce ideas off of each other, go to therapy, like, and at the end of the day, it's just an ongoing conversation that we need to have as people that doesn't always need to turn into something hateful or mean or negative or spun in a different narrative. We just need to come to terms that we're all going to be flawed forever. And the only thing we can do is just try to be better every day, a little bit better today than you were yesterday. That's all you can do. So if you don't like representation in the media and like how it's going, leave constructive feedback. Don't tear things down, but leave constructive feedback. Hey, have you thought of this? Hey, maybe look at it from this perspective.
And
Offering it.
figure out
Yeah,
why as well. Like,
right.
why does this not resonate with you?
Yeah,
It's not always just gonna be like, "Ah, I just don't like it." It's like, "But why?" Is it
right.
the writing? Is it the pacing? Is it
Mhm.
because they rely on stereotypes? Is it
Right.
because this is negative in some way? Or is it just not the way that you see these types of people?
Yeah.
It's always sometimes this could be just your lens that could be
Mhm.
skewed. It's always important to figure out the why. Sorry to interrupt, but
No, it's fine. That's very important. As a witchy person myself, one of the biggest things, I had a runes reading the other day, and what was very profound when he told me was always think about the why. And I think I might have mentioned this in a past podcast, but my memory is absolutely terrible. So you might hear me repeat things. Sorry. But long story short, he told me a lot of things that we can really think about spiritually is, say, for example, someone's bullying you. It's not a good thing. There's no excuse for the behavior. Why are they doing it? Maybe we can dissect this a little bit. Why are they bullying you? Oh, because you wore, it could be something as simple as you said that you didn't like cats. And they got upset with you because they were never allowed to have a cat growing up. So now they resent people who have cats or have had cats and don't like them or don't want to get them because it's their narrative that they never got to have one and they really want one. So how come you don't? Like, how come you don't agree with me? There's always a why that comes internally that can be connected back. So it's like a chain reaction. And it takes a lot of time to think about things like this, but maybe I think what did he say? I think he had said he used to never wear short sleeves because people said that he didn't look good in them. So then he started wearing sweaters, but those didn't make him comfortable. And then people started making fun of him because he wore sweaters and he wasn't showing off like his arms. So then he was thinking, maybe, why is this person telling me this? Maybe they got bullied because of what they wore, so now they have a trauma and they're projecting that onto him. Why did they have a trauma? Somebody else from their family may have had a trauma and projected it onto them. It can go back so far, even if you don't know, you can always kind of assume that it comes from somewhere. And being able to take what somebody says with a grain of salt and just being like, okay, that's fine. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, I'm going to do what I'm going to do. They're allowed to say whatever they want, and if they want to be negative, okay. That doesn't need to affect you or ruin your day or ruin what you think about yourself. So, don't let people harm your self-image because they have an unhealed version of themselves that they're unwilling to work on. It all comes down to understanding that people do that because they haven't worked on certain things within themselves. You can only do what you can do, and what you can control is you. Give them grace. You don't have to take it as fact. People have commented on my singing like, "Oh, this is ass." And I'm like, "All right, cool. Thanks for your opinion. I know my singing is not ass." And I could go into a bunch of whys about why it's not ass. But that's the thing. I don't need to explain myself.
No, it totally made sense. Sorry. I'm distracted.
Okay, just the silence.
I'm sorry.
Wow, leaving
I'm
me
not
alone
good.
on my soapbox alone. It's windy up here.
Listen, I saw a falling leaf, and it was very interesting how it did a little flip at the end. I'm sorry.
Literally, Gabe was like squirrel.
It was a very interesting leaf. You should have seen it.
What are your closing thoughts, Gabe?
Okay, closing thoughts. I guess just be aware that queer representation in no matter form what it takes, good or bad, is representation. And sometimes we can't be picky on that. But
Yeah.
at the same time, because it's a nuanced situation, right?
Yep.
You're allowed to be critical of
Mhm.
media. You're allowed to voice your opinions about it. You can decide whether or not it's technically good representation or bad representation.
For you.
But for you, thank you for that. Because, yeah, it is definitely whether or not it is for you.
Yep.
But that still does not negate the fact that it exists. And it's always grateful that it exists, even if
Yep.
it's the smallest, tiniest, ittiest, bittiest character that is only there for 0.2 seconds. We can be like, "Hey, look, another one. We can add it to our collection." It's great. But another closing thought is just be aware as a creator, if you are a creator who is either even if you're a part of the queer community or not, just be aware of stereotypes, be aware of the voices of queer people that you know or queer people online and who talk about their experiences being queer. And don't be afraid to stay away from those stereotypes or circumvent those stereotypes or even use those stereotypes, but make sure you have fleshed out characters to go with it. Just treat them as characters first, not just a little checkbox or representation. It's not super helpful to have a queer character who is just a stereotype. It's that's bad character. What is the word? It's just a bad character. It's a bad character.
Yeah. Bad
And if you
character
are a creator,
development.
yeah, bad character development, bad character overall. And if you want to make a good story, you need good characters. Can't really have that. I'm flubbing. I'm flubbing.
Oh my god, are you okay? Somebody get him some water. He needs some milk.
Take the box. Take the box.
Take the box, take the box. Ah! I think we're both going on brain dead. So we'll go ahead and end the podcast there. So thank you guys for watching. If you can, please support me on Patreon at Song of Rain. And like I dropped a hint, there will be a story podcast coming out, hopefully at the end of the year, if not earlier. But we'll see how long it takes to get the episodes finished. So be on the lookout for that. And we will talk to you again soon. So drink water, be kind to yourself and others, and take care. All right. Bye.
Bye.